Hello, Frigates here again, and we are back for Detour number 70, and this is No Man's Sky Beyond. So, back in 2016, the original No Man's Sky was released, I believe, and there was this controversy about it, of course, because they promised things that weren't in the game. They tried to pretend it had multiplayer when it really didn't, and things like that. And then things die down as they do. And since then, they have released a number of updates to the game. They've added some content, fixed bugs, and all that stuff. Now, they have released No Man's Sky Beyond, which the developers consider No Man's Sky 2.0. And one of the notable things is that they have added proper multiplayer. They've also added a bunch of other content, things you can do. They've added more technology. They expanded the base building that they added in one of the content updates. And they've added VR as well, which I don't have, so I can't comment much on that. And while my initial impression of No Man's Sky was pretty terrible, I really did not like the game at all. I actually find myself enjoying No Man's Sky Beyond. So when it was released shortly thereafter, I think it was probably about a week ago now, as I'm recording this, and I'm re-recording this video for the 7th or 8th time now. Most of the time it's been because I've kept playing the game and found something new or discovered something new. This time it's because the previous recording, it sounded like I was talking into a fan some of the time for some reason. Hopefully that does not happen this time. If it does, I hope you can bear with it anyway, because I can't... This video is going live tomorrow, so I don't have any more time, unfortunately. But let's talk about the game. So, the first thing I discovered when I started a new save, was that it still has that slow, unskippable initialization sequence that the original game had when you start a new game. Don't like that, didn't like it then, don't like it now. At least this time I didn't have to sit through it 5 times or something like that. So there was that at least. Because No Man's Sky Beyond doesn't crash, or the game doesn't crash when you tap out of it anymore, which is nice. The start is about as harsh as it was then, but there is now a tutorial, which I don't remember there being one in the original game, that teaches you what to look for and how to use the scanner and such. It's still pretty difficult. I'm playing on survival mode, of course, which is not the easiest mode. It's also not the most difficult mode. It's obviously not creative mode. But it was pretty difficult. I died a couple of times, which was annoying. Because you run out of resources in that phase where you're trying to fix the ship. And unfortunately, the ratio of resources to I'm not sure how to explain it, but I think it's an issue with how sparse the resources are, and as you empty the area, it becomes more and more difficult. But either way, I did persevere this time, and I did make it past that stage eventually last time as well. I did fix up my ship, and I did get into space, and then it was fairly similar. The tutorial, though, before I when I'd fixed my ship, I didn't go into space immediately because the tutorial proceeded to tell me to start building a base, which I didn't really expect. But the game told me to build what's called a base computer, which claims an area and allows you to build there. And then upon interacting with that, you get some floors and walls unlocked. You also get a research station where you can unlock additional technology. Now, we're actually on a capital ship, which I own, which is a story in and of itself. I was aware of these and the base building. They were added in one of the content updates for the original game. I never tried them then because I wasn't interested in the game, but I did notice when they come out because there were articles and screenshots floating about and such. So I was, of course, docked with one of them when I had gotten into space and saw one. And I talked to the captain, and you can, of course, buy them from the NPC captain. They cost a lot of money. Several million units. But I couldn't afford that, so I left. Then, fairly recently, when I was mining gold in an asteroid belt for my base building, I got a distress call, and this very ship was asking for help because it was being attacked by pirates. So I went to help because it was nearby, and I shot down like 4 pirate fighters that were attacking this fleet. And then I got a message telling me to dock with the ship and come talk to the captain here, Commander Peschermenk or something. So I did, and was very surprised when he gave me this ship for no money, just for free. And I got a frigate with it because I don't know how much of this was in the previous game, but now at least you get frigates, and I got one for free, and I know you can hire more from other fleets that have them. You can pay them money to join your fleet. And you can send frigates out on missions, or expeditions, as they're also called. We'll talk to the navigator here, who's suddenly lit. And he has a list of expeditions. There are different types: Voyage of Discovery, Industrial Expedition, and frigates have different roles which make them better for certain things. This one obviously is an industrial frigate, so mining expeditions, industrial expeditions, this will have a better results. And then there's combat, exploration, and trade, and they take a certain amount of time. That is real time, obviously. And this frigate, my frigate here, has been out on a mission and got damaged due to an event, and I haven't repaired it yet because that part is kind of annoying. But that is kind of interesting. It gives you more things to do with the capital ship, and I don't really know what else you can do. I know you can build on them. I built this section here because you had to build this command station to manage an expedition. You can send, when you have multiple frigates, you can either send multiple ships on the same expedition, I believe, because you can. It looks like you can assign multiple ships to the expedition, or I think you can send, if you have more command rooms, like I built 2 here, as you can see. You can send separate frigates out on separate expeditions at the same time, as many as you have command rooms for. And there's probably a max amount of frigates you can have as well, I expect. The maximum fleet size of some kind. But yeah, so that is interesting. Now we're going to go down to my base for the rest of this video. The game is kind of buggy. As you saw right there, I clipped through the top of the docking bay. There's my frigate. I have to land on that later to repair the damaged components. So we're going to head to this planet over here, which I think is where I started, because that's also where I built the base. And we're going to have a look at my base, what it looks like so far. And while I actually enjoy No Man's Sky this time around, it's not without its faults, unfortunately. And I'm not really talking about the bugs. There are a couple of bugs that are just visual, like the glitchy textures, the weird fade in, and the clipping. And then there are slightly more severe bugs, like the fact that the key rebind screen doesn't work, which is kind of annoying because I have a vehicle with a mining laser on it, but for some reason the vehicle fire button isn't bound to anything, and the menu for that doesn't work. So I can't use that until they fix that. And I've checked, and I've seen other people have the same problem. But then there are some odd design decisions, let's call them, that are just really terrible and annoy me severely. Let's see. We are going to charge the pulse. I'd like to be able to use the pulse engine to... Okay, that's not what I intended at all. Let's actually aim for the base. Sure, whatever. Too late. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. Okay. Now, what I'm about to complain about only somewhat detracts from the game. I still enjoy it, and I am going to keep playing it. I might even stream it. Here's my base. As you can see, I've built a nice landing pad because, as I've found out, one of the annoying things about this game is all the things you have to keep fueled. And the launch thrusters are by far the most annoying thing. But I found out that when you launch off a proper landing pad, either from a capital ship or a station or a planetary base, it doesn't cost any launch fuel. That's just for, I don't know why, but when you launch off a proper landing pad, it doesn't cost any fuel. It's just when you launch off the ground. So, and as I found, that is true for the for any landing pad. So I built this landing pad on my base, just right on top of it. It's slightly too large, but that's fine. And I can take off from there now without using any fuel, which is nice. I also have a device in my ship that recharges the landing gear automatically, slowly over time, which was expensive to get, but worth it. So, it is currently very cold because it's night. That's how this planet rolls. Of course, I was kind of harsh when I started out and didn't have any shelter. But now that with the base, once I had a base and was able to build a sealed structure, well, mostly that doesn't count apparently. It's now fine because when you are inside the environmental protection system doesn't deplete, nor does the life support, but the life support doesn't recharge. So this is the base computer, as it's called, and the game told me to build one of these, like I said. Then it told me to build one of these, a construction research unit, and this is where you... so let's go in here, and here's one of the first annoyances that really bug me. You'll see that we have these two options here, and we have a third option to leave, which just closes this interface and brings me back to my character. If I go to buildable technology, I end up on a kind of a research screen, a technology tree as it's also known. And here we have a bunch of devices that I can make. You can see that I've already unlocked most of them. Now, if I press D, go to the right, I end up here, and I have a bunch of wooden shelters. You get these two for free, so you can start building a shelter immediately. Now, when I clicked technologies, that technology button, I was brought here. If I'd clicked the second button, it would have put me here. And these are just a button press apart. No transition or anything. So that menu in between there is just completely pointless. And I don't understand why they've done it that way. It just, when you go into this thing, you have to wait for this text. You can click to make it faster, but it's still super annoying. And then you have to click one of these buttons. And it doesn't matter which, as long as you don't press leave. And that, it's just kind of bad design to do that. So yeah, and it as you can probably tell, it bugs me. This I like though. I like that you so the mission, which is the tutorial, it's basically a mission with objectives that advance as you do them, and then they tell you to do things to figure out how to advance and such. They tell you to unlock the base teleport module and the biofuel reactor, and these cost salvage data to unlock. And this I also like. Salvage data is, you find it on planets. There are bits of buried technology that you uncover and then interact with to get it. You get between 1 and 4 I've had so far when you interact with one. And all of these cost different amounts to unlock. The electrical wiring, which you need to connect things that use power and produce power with each other. This was free, which was nice. The most expensive thing so far, at least in this, was the solar panel, which cost 8. Then, of course, you have all the building objects. And then you have wood, metal, and concrete. Haven't really done anything with concrete. I went for metal. As you can see, I haven't really unlocked the door frame, and that's it. Then I went for metal because I like metal. Although wood is a lot cheaper because it uses carbon instead of ferrite dust. Yeah. Then it keeps telling you to do things. Now, I have a quest here. This one, Base Computer Archives. And this is the one that either is telling you to do something, or it tells you to interact with a base computer to unlock a new technology. There's a archive for user iteration lost and available. Okay, so this is new, but previously I interacted with this after I'd first placed it and got the wooden walls and the wooden platform. But then comes the next annoying thing. Between each unlock, there is a timer for some reason. It says it's to quote-unquote decrypt the next message that has been left by the previous traveler. But it's 1.5 hours I don't know if it started out that high, because I didn't really notice it at first because I was busy with building and stuff. But it came to a point where I'm gonna head inside. It came to a point where I was after having unlocked the next thing, it was either something I couldn't do anything with right away or at all. Sometimes it was an upgrade for your suit that I didn't really want to make or didn't have the materials for. And then I noticed that there was a countdown to the next technology that said 1.5 hours. Which it's kind of dumb because I have to stand around to wait for that to get the next thing. And I don't really like that at all. Like 10 minutes? Sure. I could have waited 10 minutes. But 1.5 hours? I don't really see the point of forcing you to wait that long. That kind of bugs me. But besides that, the tutorial was actually very nice. But it came to a point where it kind of stopped being useful, unfortunately. So this structure is the very first I built. It started out in this corner as a bunch of wood platforms, which I've since replaced with metal. I then built a bunch of walls around and a roof to get a sealed shelter that would protect me from freezing to death at night, basically. Until then, I had to sit in the ship to get protection. And I kept unlocking things in the base computer. And eventually, so this thing here is a portable refiner. And it's one of a set of things. Here's the build menu, which you access with C. And you have a bunch of things you can build. And you have some portable devices that you can build. And as you can see, it says it costs a portable refiner 1 out of 1 because I have one of these in my inventory. And I think these are new in Beyond. They weren't in the previous base building upgrade or update. And they're devices that you can build them. And initially, if I place this, go into the build menu again, try to build another one, you'll see that it has a resource cost. But if you have already constructed one and you pick it up, then when you place it again, instead of it costing those resources, it'll cost the one you have in your inventory instead, which I think is nice. They could have made it so that you got the resources back instead, but that means you could accidentally use them for something else, and you would then be unable to build or place the device again, which would be annoying. So I like this. So the portable refiner is used to refine certain materials. In certain cases, it enables you to get things you can't otherwise get. It also, you can refine, for example, carbon to condensed carbon, which is more energy dense, which is nice. And condensed carbon is also used in certain recipes and as a building material for certain things which you need. And that's all fine. The problem with this, or one of the drawbacks with this though, is that it only has one input slot, and you need to power it with carbon. So at one point when you unlock things with the base computer, it unlocks a medium refiner, which I have in here. Now, the point of all of this is that when you get this and you try to build it, so far, you only have this. And I ran headfirst into this. So if we go to General, and then we have the medium refiner here. Let's see if we can... I don't have enough. Don't think I have enough dihydrogen to make enough jelly, unfortunately. So I can't actually... Unfortunately, I don't have the resources to actually be able to build this. So I can't show the message, but what happened was I collected the resources, 100 magnetized ferrite and 5 dihydrogen jelly. Then I went to place this in my base, and I couldn't. Instead of missing components, it said needs to be attached to a structure or something. Not exactly that. It said it was briefer than that. But essentially that was the message. And I had absolutely no idea what that meant. Because as far as I knew, to me, this is a structure. And if this is not a structure according to the game hasn't told me what a structure is or what being attached means. So what I had to do was I had to go online, which I had henceforth, or that might not be the right word. Up until that point, I had avoided looking anything up externally, because so far the game had done a good job of teaching me what to do, or telling me to do things that I could actually do and knew how to do. But when we got to this point, that kind of failed. So what I found out was that, and what I was supposed to do was, I had a different quest. You'll see that I have the base computer archives is a secondary mission, and I had a primary mission. Now I have 3, but I had a single one at that time, which I had mostly ignored. And it turns out what I was supposed to do was continue that primary mission, which unlocks what's called the Nexus. And the Nexus is a portable station, or the Nexus is a station, a massive space station that you access through what is called the anomaly. And you can summon the anomaly in any system, and it's kind of basically a station warps in that you can dock with, and that takes you to the Nexus, which is always the same, even if the entrance moves. And once there, I found that you get access to more technologies. You get access to a bigger tree than what is available in this research unit. And it still uses salvage data to which I have there. It still uses salvage data to unlock, but you have a bunch more things. And I guess that is the game's way of restricting what you have access to so you don't get overwhelmed, which is sensible. But it turns out that you'll notice that I have these modules here, which are called prefabs. And it turns out that that is what, as you saw, what you need to place the medium refiner in. You can't put it on these modular structures. It only goes in these prefabricated ones. Which I found out through reading instead of the game telling me or showing me or anything. So unfortunately that kind of failed there. Another annoyance is, which might be a bug, I'm not entirely sure. You see this teleporter here? This is actually nice. And the game tells you, like I said, to unlock and build this. And it tells you to build a biofuel reactor to power it. But as you can see, it's attached to this prefab, and it's receiving power. Normally, when you can build it, you can build anywhere you want. I don't know if I have the materials for one. No, but I could build this here if I wanted to. Okay, can only have one per base anyway. But then you have to connect it to the reactor to power it. But here, power is, I have a bunch of solar panels like you saw on the roof. Up here. That are connected to the prefab. And the prefab, the attachment point in the center there is attached to the power grid that the prefab makes up. But for some reason, these batteries, which are used to store power from the solar panels, to use during when it's dark, obviously, these aren't connected to that grid. Instead, you'll see here that there's a cable that runs through the wall to the attachment, the power connector on the outside, because that was the only way I could figure to get the batteries connected. And then these two batteries are linked together. It closes off the connection points that are normally visible, that look like that. It removes them, although they are apparently still there because I am able to use them which I'm glad for, because otherwise these would be useless. So that's a bit weird. There might be a bug that these attachment points around the side, around the edges here, aren't connected to the grid. So yeah, that's No Man's Sky Beyond, I guess. And the verdict is that it is enjoyable. It has some issues. Hopefully they will iron out most of them before too long. But I will definitely keep playing this, and I'm going to build another landing pad here, is the plan, because if you have a free landing pad, NPCs come and visit. And I would like to buy a bigger ship at some point when I have the money for it. But yeah, I don't know if this game is Let's Play or stream worthy. If you think it is, either of those, feel free to comment. And with that, I will see you in the next video.